Almost. It's figuring the screen is different. It's circling.
Oh, I think that.
Right. No, but the screen is different than the last time, and the things didn't come up.
Okay. But I thought it was the red look. Okay. All right. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Yay. Okay. We are going to start on page 128 with Hine Matov. How good it is that we are all together. Hine Matov Manayim Shabbatachim Gam Yachad. 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 We invite Meryl up for the honor of lighting candles. You're busy tonight.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel Shabbat. We turn to page 123. 122 first.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing. And God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu We now turn to page 138 as we welcome the seventh bride. And we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. I'll wait till. Lechadudili pratkala yala yala le Shabbat le Kabbalah. Lechadudili pratkala yala yala le Shabbat le Kabbalah. Shamor zachor b'dibur echad mishlianu elanu chad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'ritila. Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Victory, kiva orech, kuli ori, uri, shir daveri, kvod Adonai, alayich niva. Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Boi b'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'sala, toch emunei al serula. Boi chala, Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Lechadodi likrat kala yala leShabbat leKabbalah. Don't sit down. Look for someone in the sanctuary that you haven't seen for a while and say hello. Or someone that you've never met. So quiet. And while you're still standing, we turn to page 146 for the Baruch. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai, Page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chochma poteach she'arim, u'bitbuna meshane itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim v'mishmerotehem barakir kirsonah. Orei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. U'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, המבדיל בינו ובין מעלה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב הרביב. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו ושופטנו, ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגדי יומם ולילה, נגדי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם ירום מלכותו לעולם ועד. Please be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושננתם בלבבך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, ובשרתם באות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו מה עשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. On the top of page 157, let's read together. Standing on the hardened shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternal in Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Mi kamo chama elim Adonai, mi kamo chale darakodesh, yorati lo sefer, yorati lo sefer. מלכותך ובניך, בוקר היום לפני משה ומרים, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. On the top of page 160. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, v'hoshi'enu leman shemecha. Help us to know that you're near, that your presence is here. Let us lie down in peace every night. And when we rise in the day, keep us sheltered, we pray. Guide us, God, with your love and your light. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'porei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'porei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. And we rise again and turn to page 164 for the Tikvah. Adonai sefatai tiftach, ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Eloheinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Ha'adol, Ha'gibor Ha'adonai, El Hayom, L'omer Chasadim Tovim, Elkonei Ha'or, Bezocher Chatzirot V'imahot, Umevli Ge'umayim Le'nehem, Le'moshiach La'avah, Le'choser Shirachim. Baruch atah Adonai, You may be seated. And we continue on page 177. Together, on the top of the page, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, or light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Ki atahu melachto lechol ha'shalom. Ki atahu melachto lechol ha'shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה לשלום עליך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha, Tasim La'olam. Tasim La'olam. Tasim La'olam. We pause for a moment of silent prayer. Read what's in the book or what's in your head or in your heart. One moment. Shalom in Ramah, Uyasa Shalom Aleichem, La'avon Yisrael, Beinu Ilu Amen. Yasa Shalom, Yasa Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, La'avon Yisrael. prayers for healing. And I ask you to turn to page 371. We ask for healing for Eric Aronson, Jamie Littman-English, Eileen Anda, Ellen Bassick, Batsheva Hercelia, Benjamin Menachem Frank, Carolyn Barron, Mindy Belkin, Stephen Berman, Jane Bernstein, Arnold Block, Dennis Brenner, Jack Kazis, Nora Correa, Toby Domash, Susan Zitzik, Janet Ewing, Rhoda Finkelstein, Arthur Fisher, Judy Fisher, Michelle Fisk, Evan Foster, Martha Garland, Barbara Goldberg, Florence Goldring, Stephen Goldstein, Jean Gormley, Elise Grace, Lee Hawley, Marilyn Heckler, Enid Hirsch, Matthew A. Hood, Dacia Horowitz, Phyllis Horn, Stephen Israel, Tony Israel, Christine Jacobson, Danette Jamal, Roberta Kahn, Louis Kaufman, Tatiana Holtuniak, Michael Constan, Esther Krashevsky, Dylan Labisi, Lawrence Landy, Sandy Lee, Gail Levy, Paul Nipson, Robert Mandel, Robert Mannix, Barbara Massey, Susan Miller, Ashley Maranki, Adam Maranki, Mendel Zolman Bela, Michal Zahava Bat Miriam, Miriam Shulamit Bat Bela, Patrice Newman, Nora Tzipora Bat Ilana, Andrew O'Donnell, Carla Osuna, Sophia Palladino, Esther Parker, Gerlinda Pescatore, Helga Pfeffer, Ben Pilch, Rabbi Lester Polanski, Dean Powell, Stephen Rand, Carol Ryder, Julie Rosenberg, Alan and Maura Rosenspan, Renee Rosenthal, Sylvie Rubel, Adele Schoner, Hannah Rachel Bat Miriam, Charlotte Miriam Schnuck, Claire Shapiro, Jeffrey Schoenholtz, Marjorie Schoenholtz, Edmund Steiner, Faye Strobel, Rhoda Strobel, Toba Bat Shifra, Arlene Iris Wissam, Shirley Young. For those joining for us virtually, say the name of your loved one in need of healing. Say that name out loud. For those in the sanctuary, say the name out loud when my eyes meet yours. Matt, Bruce, Steve White.
Gail Buckshire, Pat May, Marianne Walsh, Pete, Steve Bridges, Kelly Seidel, and Dory.
Please join in our Misha Berach at page 371. Misha Berach may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu, Kor HaBracha, Lavotenu, bless those in need of healing, with refuah Shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So, few biblical narratives are as sad as the one that we read this weekend. The Torah portion is Pinchas. There are several stories within Pinchas. The first one is a shocking one, and we're not going to talk about that one. come to Torah study tomorrow. It's really shocking. I'll announce that later. But to refresh our memories from the reading a couple of weeks ago, this is sort of an ongoing theme throughout a few Torah portions. This was 2 weeks ago. The entire community is without water, and the people complain, they complain a lot, people complain to Moses and Aaron, and they say, "Why did you take us out of Egypt to bring us to die in this desolate wilderness?" Moses and Aaron are angry at the people, and they're probably frustrated at the whole situation, and they pray to God, and God tells them to gather the people in front of a rock, and water will flow. And Moses is told to touch the rock with his rod. So when the people gather in front of the rock, Moses takes his rod, and he strikes the rock. And water pours out, and there's enough to satisfy the people and all of their flocks. However, Moses and Aaron are told that because of their anger, they will not be allowed to enter the promised land. So back to this Torah portion, 2 weeks later. The Israelites are poised to enter the promised land. And you know, because there's a census just before the census in this Torah portion too, there are over 600,000 men of fighting age that are ready for possible battles. So if there are that many men, you know, a lot of people, because they're women too. And this generation is a new generation. No one who had been enslaved in Egypt will enter the promised land, including their leader, Moses. And of course, Moses is hoping that God will change God's decision and allow him to enter the promised land, but Moses already figures he's not getting it. So God affirms the decision in this portion. It says, "Because you rebelled against my word at the wilderness of Zin in the assembly strife, to sanctify me at the water before their eyes, the waters of Meribah at Kadesh." So God is saying, you weren't faithful to me. I told you that you got angry. I told you to touch it, the rock, you struck it, you made me, maybe God was embarrassed. Anyway, it seems like the punishment didn't fit the current crime. I've always felt that. Every time, this is such a difficult Torah portion. So Moses, we know from other portions too, Moses had a temper, and he had difficulty restraining that temper. But the punishment still doesn't fit the crime. Every time I read this, I feel Moses' sadness. It's so deep. Look what he's been doing his whole life. His whole adult life, he's been leading the people towards this one goal. And I feel his sadness, I feel his assumptive disappointment, and I feel his reluctance to lose his role as a leader. So, this past week, our country has been grappling with the president's decision to step down as candidate for another term. And with great humility and, I assume, great disappointment, he endorsed his vice president for a new generation to come forward. President Biden's latest actions, perhaps not a true change of heart, but an acceptance that this is in the best interest of the country and his people, made me see this week's narrative in a different light. Usually, we read the Torah, it makes us see our world in a different way, but this time it was the opposite. This world today, this week, made me see this Torah portion in another way. When Moses asks God for a new leader to replace him, and God tells Moses to single out Joshua, Moses immediately does as God commands him. Moses doesn't try to negotiate with God, as he's done in the past. I've always thought that Moses, in this narrative, is so silent, that he's silent in this scene. He's stifling his sadness and probable anger at God, and he goes through the motions wordlessly, just as God commands. Kind of like a child in a snit, I'll do it, all right, I'll do it, and they do it, they go through the motions, right? That's how I pictured Moses. But in light of this week's events, one can experience this in an entirely different way. So Moses, at this point, He's only concerned for the future of the people he has so faithfully guided for all these years. Maybe he's not thinking of his own significance or his own legacy. If Moses is sad, we hear nothing about it. He dutifully and devotedly performs this ordination for the good of the community. God then tells Moses to lay his hand upon Joshua. And in a detail I don't remember noticing this. Moses puts both hands upon Joshua in the presence of all the people to ensure that Joshua will be accepted and capable to take the position of leadership with God's blessing. Now, as we all know, every detail has a reason to be. And sure enough, I looked it up, there's a midrash that suggests that so great is Moses' confidence in the skill and success of the man who is to succeed him, that he consciously goes beyond the divine command, and he lays both his hands upon Joshua. Remember from the ordination of the brothers, when they did something that wasn't entirely correct in their instructions, they were killed immediately. So Moses does the same thing. He puts two hands instead of one hand. But unlike the earlier incident, or the incident of the rock, when he hits the rock instead of touching the rock, Moses receives no rebuke this time. He's gone beyond the instructions, but because he acts out of unconditional love, nothing is said. One of the lessons of Moses' acceptance of his transfer of leadership may be to learn what we expect from our leaders. Leaders of government, leaders of houses of worship, leaders of families. Let's look for leaders with patience and understanding, with moderation in response to frustration or, yes, even failure, and with the courage to be humble, as Moses was. Shabbat Shalom. Turn to page 586. And we rise orderly. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabach ma'adon ha'kol. Shalom ason kevoyeh ha'aranzot, v'lo ason k'mishpachot ha'adama. Shalom sam chelkeinu panem, v'gor aleinu kachod ha'amonam. V'achadanu orim, u'mishpachot orim. V'nifnei Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, life and death. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently been taken from us. We remember the recent passing of Marlene Hurwitz, remembered by Jonathan, Adam, and Ethan Hurwitz and family, and Lisa Landau, remembered by the Kahn family, and William Barter, remembered by Natalie Wolf your family. And we remember those who have died in seasons in past years, those whom we've drawn into our hearts with our own. And we remember the yard sites of Joseph Samuel Brugner, grandfather of Jody Osterweil, David Gold, grandfather of Mark Gold, Dora Hurwitz, grandmother of Amy Burbach, Sadie Lefkowitz, mother of Saul Lefkowitz and mother-in-law of Judy Lefkowitz, Joe Margolin, mother of Judith Brembrett, Leo Steiner, uncle of Julie Steiner O'Donnell, Frances Stoll, mother-in-law of Miriam Stoll, Miriam Weinerman, mother of Judy Lefkowitz and father-in-law of Saul Lefkowitz, and Beatrice Weiner, mother-in-law of Ronald Deegan. And if there are other names, people online, again, say those names out loud. And in the sanctuary, as I pass you, my arm passes you, call out those names and rise. Any names? For your outside. Zichronam Livrocham. May their memories be for blessing. We turn to the Kaddish on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, Yalma divrach yutei yamich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, v'chayechon b'et Yisrael, v'agalah v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba levarach le'olam lamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yipa'ar v'yivramah v'yivaseh, v'yihadar v'yitaber v'yihalal, shmei v'shar v'yichud, ve'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, v'yishbachata v'nechamata, da'amira me'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlomo Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'yivramah, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu v'Kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. Oseh Shalom v'yivramah, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu v'Kol Yisrael, v'yimru amen. May be seated. I have a few announcements, and I'll go in chronological order. In the morning, there is Torah study. It's a really great Torah portion. And the beginning of it is a shocker, so be on time. It will start at 9:15 over Zoom, and it will be led by Rabbi Stoller, the Rabbi at Temple Bethel. If you need the link, email Meryl, and she'll send it to you. Tomorrow morning, 9:15. Choir rehearsal on Wednesday at 6:30. It meets on time. If you'd love to be in the choir, or if you just like maybe sort of want to be in the choir, we would love to have you. Even though we've already been rehearsing for High Holy Days, we haven't gotten that far. So you're welcome. In fact, I think we're still on evening Rosh Hashanah, right? So come. Just come. I'll give you everything you need. Remember that Sunday is a barbecue and a sing-along at Temple Bethel at 4:30, and you can see it in the weekly update, although I haven't been getting the weekly update. So if you haven't been getting it, tell somebody. Tell Haley, right? Tell Haley. Email Haley in the office. I just thought that it wasn't being sent out in the summer, so I didn't say anything. But now I will. And then, August 9th is Bob Bader's 100th birthday. And so there will be a service at 5:30 and a celebration afterwards, a festive on it. And the service will be in honor and celebration of Bob. So 5:30, August 9th. Any other announcements? No? All right. I heard a voice. Yes.
Sisterhood honey.
Sisterhood.
Honey sale is still on.
Hanukkah sale?
Honey.
Oh, honey sale. Rosh Hashanah sale. That was early. The Sisterhood honey sale, what do they need to know about it? It's just happening?
Yes.
And what do they?
Look in the update studio.
Look in the update. Okay, if you want to know anything about anything, look in the update. No, look in the Torah. All right, we turn to page 625. You know the words. Okay, this is my favorite Adonai. It is the Sephardic Adonai. One of the Sephardic Adonais. Adon olam Hashem alach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'id nasah v'chetzo kol azay melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora ve'hu haya ve'hu hoveh ve'hu yiyeh v'tikvah ve'hu echad ve'in sheni להמשיך לו להחבירה בני ראשית ובלי תכלית ולא העוז והמצווה והוא הביא וחי גורלי וצורך לי בעצרה והוא ניסי ומנוסי מנת רוסי ביום הרע Yado wafkid ruchi ve'et ishad ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviyati Adonai ve'lo yira. Last but not least, I've been smelling this all evening. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem me'haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.